Hi there. So in this video, we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite topic, budgets. Yes, I can hear you cheering already. So, of course, budgets and the funding of innovation and corporate development can get a bit complicated. So let's try and break it down just a little bit in this video. And in 4 minutes, we're going to cover 4 financial concepts. These are 4 concepts that we use a lot in Strategy Quest, and they are OpEx, CapEx, revenue, and divestments. So let's start with the first one, which is OpEx, or operating expenses. So this is your day-to-day spending. Think of all the recurring fees, charges, expenses like salaries, your agency or consulting fees, any advertising expenses you might have, or maybe you pay for software like a SaaS subscription, something like that. Now, as a rule of thumb, if you stop paying for these things, you stop getting the benefit. So that's how you identify OpEx. Now, the second one is CapEx, or capital expenditure. So these are investments in capabilities or in infrastructure or strategic assets. So it tends to be a much longer term commitment. Now, a great example in innovation or in M&A would be when you acquire a stake in a startup. So that is a form of capital expenditure. And generally, as a rule of thumb, if you can hold on to the value, or at least some of that value, for several years, then there's a good chance that that is CapEx. These tend to be strategic, durable investments. Now, how to make the distinction between OpEx and CapEx? Sometimes there's a bit of a gray area. So there are expenses where you might engage in depreciation or amortization. So there is some debate sometimes over what fits into which bucket. But for the purposes of Strategy Quest, we'll urge you to keep it quite simple. Generally speaking, if in doubt, we'll lump things in the OpEx category. Okay, so we talked about money going out. Now let's talk about money coming in. So the first one is your expected revenue, right? So this would be the income that you expect to be generated by your portfolio of projects, ventures, startups, etc. So what can they generate in the coming year, assuming your base case projections? So it's fine to be optimistic with this number, but of course, don't be crazy, right? This needs to reflect what you realistically expect, not what you hope, what you'd like to happen. So especially important here is recurring revenue. Okay, so if that figure is 0, then that's absolutely fine to be expected in the first year, especially, and even beyond that. And then the second thing to mention is also don't apply any probabilities or discounting to these figures. You can safely assume that the finance department will do that for you. So just give your best, most honest estimate of what you think your revenue for the year to come will be. And then the second form of cash in, money in, is through divestment. So this is income that you expect to realize from selling something. So from selling a stake in a startup that you've bought, for example, or selling your share of a joint venture, or maybe an option that you own on a particular asset. So it's usually one-off opportunities that we see here, right? So these are not revenue, right? They're not recurring. Once you've sold it, it's gone. You've swapped the ownership for cash. Okay, so let's recap. So in each round, you can submit up to 4 numbers. So first we mentioned OpEx. This is what you spend to run your business. Then we have CapEx. This is what you invest to build the business. Then we have revenue. This is what you expect to earn from your business. And finally, the divestment. So what you plan to exit, the cash you plan to generate from that. So if you get these inputs right in your deliverables, you'll be sure to give your strategic decisions the financial backing that they need. So please check out the next video. We'll show you in that video how to submit your deliverables in Strategy Quest, including your budget in the interface. So thank you and good luck.